By the way, as of today, I'm out of video, but I've shot some things. You know, I'm funny. I start a project, and then I start another project that has nothing to do with the first project. Well, maybe it does relate, but I mean, like I start in this direction, but then I think, well, when I get over here, I'm going to need that. So then I go over there and I'll start that. Then I think, well, I'm going to need this. Then I go start this. So right now, I've got 3 different projects going. None of them are finished. But that's kind of how I roll. So I'm not ever sure how my channel fits into YouTube. I have discovered, I guess I could say this, I have discovered, well, we've got a guy in the news now that's being sued. There are people that lie and stir up hatred and make money off of it. They say things, I can say conspiracy theorists. Conspiracy theorists theorize or say that there's some bad thing happening and everyone should be alarmed about it, and then they say that we're the only one that knows about these bad things happening, so you need to send us money and support us so that we can continue to tell you what you need to be worried about. And they make money off that. I guess this guy that's being tried now has made millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars off of this. And interestingly, I find that there's also a trend of non-conspiracy theorists who are acting as outrageous as the conspiracy theorists, and they're actually making money because I was listening to an article on the news the other day, and they said the conspiracy, I won't say this particular guy because some guy might believe this guy, and I'm sure you're going to know who I'm talking about, is telling the truth. So I won't use him for an example, but I'll just say that there are people in the world that tell lies and get people mad about it and get people afraid about it and make money off of it. Well, now there's people in the world who tell the truth, but they do it in such an entertaining way that people get mad about it and they make money off of it. So we have the conspiracy theorists telling lies and making money off, and we have the truth tellers telling the truth and making money off of it, and people with a brain kind of out here in the middle who most of this stuff that the conspiracy theorists tell me I have to worry about, I don't. I mean, I could go through my whole life and not have ever known about it, and it wouldn't change anything in my whole life. But it's an interesting time if you've got enough of a brain to not believe everything they tell you. And you know, I was a truck driver when I was a pretty young fellow at night, and at night about the only thing on the radio, and we were literally listening to AM radio when I started, was these guys who would talk all night long and all they would do is stir up trouble. And I learned, because I did a little stint on public radio for a while, that it didn't matter what you said as long as people were listening to you. In fact, I had an editor at a radio station. I guess he was an editor. He was my boss. He said it doesn't matter what you say as long as people listen. So, and that's the truth. We live in a world, they used to be, back in the old days, we had the FCC. If you were a truck driver and you had a CB radio, you knew there were certain things you couldn't say or you'd get in trouble with the FCC, the Federal Communication Commission. I don't know what happened to that. They used to also enforce TV. On television, there were things you couldn't say. I remember Johnny Carson and some of the comedians, they'd get right to the edge and they'd laugh and they'd say, we'll be off the air tomorrow because you said that. And it was a big joke. But television was pretty clean back in the 50s and 60s and early 70s, and a lot of, and then people came in and pushed that. And I don't know how it all got to where it wasn't controlled anymore, but it did. But regardless of that, in today's world, anybody can say anything. It doesn't have to be true. It doesn't even have to be nice. People can say mean things. You can say hurtful things, and people can hurt people, and people can rile people up, and people can motivate people to do dangerous and scary things. And it's like that's all gotten out of control. And I don't know where that's going to go. Somebody said the other day, well, maybe because of people suing people now, because people are suing people now for things they've said that's caused them harm. And maybe because of that, it'll go back to a time at least somewhat closer to what it used to be, when we could watch Ricky and Desi and Lucy and people on TV, and mom and dad didn't have to worry that I was going to see bad things. I remember my dad saw on Jackie Gleason's show, there was these dancers, the June Taylor dancers, and they were kicking their legs in the air, on television. Because that's the way they used to do it. Things like the Rockettes and things used to do that. My dad turned the television off. He said, that's disgusting. He didn't want his kids seeing women kicking their legs in the air because that was disgusting and sinful. That's where I started from. So for me to be in a world where people are making millions of dollars telling you that all kind of bad things are going to happen, and you better buy survival products, and you better buy more guns, and you better buy more ammo, and you better overthrow these politicians, and you better go out in the street and attack buildings, and raise your voices, and by the way, send me more money so I can keep telling you all these things that you need to get mad about. Well, that's a long way from back in the old days when my dad thought television had gone too far with the June Taylor dancers. And I know, because I know young people, that a lot of the things that I thought was annoying, young people are coming along and saying, that's no big deal. People do that kind of thing all over the world. It's nothing to worry about. But I also know that a lot of young people are fed up with this. Right now it seems like a lot of old people from my generation have done a lot of things to muddy the waters and to mess things up. And there's a lot of hate in the world because of people from my generation that figured out how to do this and profited by it. And there's a lot of young people who's pushing, everything. Living life in a democracy is like there's a pendulum. It swings this way and it swings this way. And right now, a lot of people talk and say a lot of bad things about young people. But you know what? I like and admire young people. I see young people doing amazing things, good things, and I'm very happy about that. I didn't plan to say that, but I was talking about me going in 3 different directions at once. So today, I started in the 3rd direction, which is this electrical stuff, and I've got some boards out there I got to get the nails out of, and that's going to go in the work table that I'm making back in the banjo shop. And there's this whole other thing that came up today having to do with banjo stuff, which I'm not going to talk about anymore because I've already got 3 different things going, 3 different fish on the hook, and I can't reel one of them in. So I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to rewire this over here and get that working. And at some point I'm going to go in the house and I'm going to pick something that I've been doing and make movies out of it. So you'll get to see that. I love each and every one of you. I pray for you. I know who you are. I don't know all of you that need praying for, so I pray for all of you, but some of you I pray for more than others. And you know who you are, Henry. I'm praying for you all the time, buddy, because I know your situation. And many others of you, Barbara, your brother, and all that. Y'all are good enough to let me know what's going on, and I try to do my part praying for y'all. So I'll stop talking now. Bye.